hearts be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer, and it is in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect tonight's discussion. Aman, shalom, peace, peace, peace. We give our honor and praise, as always, to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise and honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Amma, who lives a life that's able to be honored. Um, I will be attempting my best, as best as I can, to possibly every once in a while have it to where you guys can see her and I speaking if you're on TikTok. But you should be able to hear fine, no matter where you are listening from. And we're thankful and grateful to have everybody on. We have it recorded here on YouTube as well, and preferably those on Patreon able to see this as well. I'm being on with us, so we're not going to be before you too long. Praise y'all. Thank you to everybody for being on. We give once again our honor to the Most High. We give honor and praise to him for my wife, the Honorable Alma, who is joining us this evening. For some of you by audio, at least for the moment, I will try my best every once in a while to make sure you can see her. I guess if you'd like to say shalom real quick to everybody.
Shalom, everyone. Happy make up Passover, and yeah, peace. Happy to be on.
Aman, shalom. So we're thankful and grateful to have her on with us. We're going to go ahead and get started for this evening. Not sure, since tomorrow is Mother's Day, not sure if we'll be able to do the Zoom session that we normally follow up with on the following Sunday. So we'll let everybody know. We'll send a as the day progresses tomorrow. We'll see where we're at, and we'll make sure that we send out a notice, no matter what the decision is made to be. But we're here to do marital sessions, and to make sure we're keeping up with that. So prayerfully, if you missed tonight, or if you're not able to get with us, or you weren't able to get the invite, you'll be able to join us pretty soon. And thank you for joining in with us as you guys are continuing to come on. Thank you for any likes, shares, subscriptions, notifications. If you give any kind of gifts, donations, etc., we're thankful and grateful for all of that. And so we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, in all honesty, we've been very busy, and I was going through a lot of stuff this week, and we've been recovering from our trip, which is still not fully done, but we've done the majority of it. We got to head back up north. That being said, there's a couple different things that we could possibly go into, but I'm gonna be honest, we didn't have a chance to have an official title for today, at least not as of yet. We'll kind of come up with one as we're speaking. Um, but once again, I don't know. Is there any particular way you want to go, babe, before I just start talking, or is there anything that you've seen or heard, or anything that maybe you think we should start with, or even if there's anybody who's listening, there's maybe something you guys would like us to discuss possibly as well. But is there anything that you had, babe, that maybe you would want to start with?
Um, well, what's been kind of being presented to me over and over again through different experiences and kind of anecdotal situations is kind of maintaining a connection, and dealing with sex and sexless marriages. That's been kind of something that seems like a recurring theme lately. Shalom, Sister Mavis. Um, Baby, I think, okay, YouTube's back now. We can't hear you, though. Can't hear you.
Yeah, when I'm turning the
Okay, there
phone
you go.
around, I might just get rid of the picture so they can't see as I'm turning in the room. That's all. Um, but yeah, so okay, so there's a few different, or a couple different things at least. So you were saying being in long relationships, being in sexless marriages, and there was something else I think I missed.
Maintaining a connection, you know.
So how to maintain a
Um,
connection. Okay, so what's some things that you've been seeing or hearing or noticing?
like I saw, well, this. this was just an Instagram post I saw just right before we came on. A lady, she's 53, and she was talking about how lonely she was and how she wanted a connection. She said it's been a few years since she's been in a relationship, and she really wants to have a connection, have someone, to talk to make coffee with, to touch, to kiss, and things like that. And the main thing that was kind of standing out to me is that she's beautiful, so that's not the issue. So maybe the issue could possibly be looking for perfection. Because if it was just as simple as I want somebody to be there that I can talk to who's decent, who I can make coffee with, and who will kiss me, that's millions of men. But there must be something more that's keep holding her back from finding a relationship, a connection with somebody. If it's yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe as far as like her. Well, I guess so I don't know. First of all, I didn't watch the video, so I'm gonna admit that, right? So I could totally start talking and be on some stuff that's not even in the ballpark. But connection, connectivity, communication, I guess, is the main thing. Seems like her love languages that kind of screamed out and jumped out at me from what she just said is I guess three of them kind of. But I was gonna say words of affirmation, but I think even more so, the words of affirmation is something she's maybe craving or starving from, which might be a thing of her connectivity with, just persons in general. Maybe she doesn't get that conversation, or maybe some of us are tied to relationships. Like, I'm not even saying this to be mean, like some of us like to be around people, including in certain, relationships that should be leading towards marriage. So there are some times where maybe there is, that feeling of I need to have that, or maybe I want to have it, even if it's not the season, or maybe she can get some of that through proper friendships or proper things, proper community. But then also too, you have what really jumped out to me was number four and number five, quality time and physical touch seem to be a thing like a certain type of quality, of physical touch and quality time. And it seems like even in the relationships, maybe when she gets into the relationships, she just gets in. And once again, I'm assuming. All right, I just want to make that very clear on all platforms. There are some assumptions being made, but it sounds like that there could be something there where it's like, okay, I'm jumping into relationships hoping for somebody that will give me quality time, and it will lead to physical touch. But I get into relationships and I get time maybe in the beginning, or I get like a semblance of it, but I don't get the time is not of quality. I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense.
Makes sense. I mean, the video was very short, so it wasn't like she actually, kind of exposed enough of her situation. She just kept saying how tired she was, that she's tired, and that why can't she find a decent man that can, have a conversation with her and, make coffee with her and kiss her and just simple, very simple things. And it seems as though, if it was really just as simple, and that sometimes people don't know what they want, they say what they want, and they realize that maybe what they thought they wanted wasn't exactly what they needed.
Mm.
So that might be the case. But what you said made perfect sense.
Yeah, and you were saying even before, I think sometimes we might be, you know, I think, and I don't know. Obviously, she's saying she hasn't been in a relationship for a while, so I don't know. See, now I'm be careful. I don't want to sound like matchmaker stuff, but at the same time, it's like I would ask anybody that was saying something along those lines. I would ask them outright, like, you know, your standard, and what is it that you like, what is it that completes you? Because it doesn't sound like it's something, like sometimes persons go into relationships and they're looking for stuff that doesn't necessarily complete them, or even something that we become one. Like you and I work very well together because of being opposites. Matter of fact, I think when we're trying to both be I mean, I guess I'd even use the word sometimes we can both be headstrong in certain things because we want certain things for righteous reasons, but at the same time, a lot of times when we forget, at least I'll speak on my end, when I forget that you can come to something in an opposite way or even fulfill something differently than I can, it helps me to, realize what's going on better and to step back and to let things happen more organically. um and it seems like she's kind of like, oh well, I want a relationship, I want a relationship. But it's like, yes, but who's gonna be the person that gives you quality time and actually gives you quality time? And if we go to the five love languages piece, even, who gives you quality time in a manner that you couldn't get without them? Like, are you looking for somebody that fulfills your needs, um literally because they bring things, what they say, bring things to the table, that you don't bring, and so, like you said, anybody, it seems like, by just wanting something that anybody can provide, she hasn't actually thought about what is it that only a husband, if you will, would provide. It seems like it's like you said, oh yeah, I just want somebody to have coffee with. Where you can have a bunch of coffee dates. You can have coffee with persons you work with. You can have coffee with a stranger, at a Starbucks and strike up a conversation. Um, but saying, okay, this is somebody that when they speak, I feel like I'm intertwined or interwoven, or I'm learning things from them that I wouldn't get from somebody else, or they're even able to tell me things about myself, um, that I couldn't receive maybe from somebody else, even. That speaks more loudly to, I need more specificity. That's why even in some of the dating stuff that we talk about, and so much at SOC, we try to tell persons, even when we say we don't do dating, we're not saying we don't have conversations with persons, or we don't. Uh, it's not necessary to find out what is it that you need. You grew up in a certain manner where you kind of already know what you need. Life itself is showing you what you need. So if we're not careful, we can be so busy into, I just want a dinner date, or I want somebody to have coffee with, or even if it's somebody to lay down with or to hug. I mean, you can find that there's a whole bunch of persons who will do that and not necessarily give you the relationship, give you the wife, or make you you know, even deserving of you. It's very interesting when I hear a person speak like that, but I don't hear a person say, I'm looking for somebody who, deserves to give me quality time. I'm looking for somebody that, who deserves to give me physical touch, rather than just, I want quality time and physical touch. It's speaking about something completely different than, what we're usually used to hearing.
I totally agree, and I think it goes to like kind of like a, not to sound any, this is not like a condescending thing, but I'm saying, just being real, it sounds like a desperate type talk. And when people are desperate, they make desperate moves, and they make the wrong moves. And it reminds me
But
of
babe, I'm sorry,
conversation.
not to interrupt you.
Uh huh.
I'm gonna let you keep cooking. But when you said that, it reminded me of, if you won't stand for something, you'll fall for anything type mentality.
Exactly. And when we are not in position, then we kind of are all over the place.
Mm,
And even if you meet the right person, even if you find the right job, if excuse me, if you're all over the place and you seem kind of like disheveled, out of position, out of place, you become very unattractive to people.
mm,
Um, I was having a conversation with someone recently, and I asked them, well, what kind of job or work are you looking for? And they were like, I'll take anything. And I'm like, well, that's not the right attitude to take, because
mm,
if you'll take anything, then you're going to get taken advantage of. And even someone who has good intentions, if you come incorrectly, you're going to rub them the wrong way, and you're going to get the wrong result, even if you were in the right place at the right time, but in the wrong mind. If you don't feel as though this is it for me, this is what I've been looking for. If it's just I need coffee and a conversation and somebody to kiss me, I
mm.
mean, you can get that. You could walk up to a stranger and I'm sure they would give that to you, you know.
Yeah.
And but if it's just I'll take anything, it's kind of it gets to a point where even if someone's a good person, they're gonna look at you sideways.
Mm. Yeah. And to further your point, if you get what you pay for, but and I don't think persons realize. I don't want to demean relationships, but you also it's bartering to a certain degree. You're not going to be able to have every single thing that you desire all the time in any relationship, at least any.
And you're not going to give it either. You're never going to give everything that you think that you're giving. You're never going to be the perfect person that you think that you're going to be. So you do have to make some type of concessions and allow people to be human.
Yeah, and so yeah, exactly. So, if she's saying I'll just take whatever, then and you're bartering basically what you said. Like if I'm if I have a stick of gold and somebody has a pound of feathers, as nice as the feathers might be, that's not, no matter how valuable you think, like that's not a great situation. Yeah, it's not a trade. That's not something that we should be even putting on the table for the same, thinking of as being the same worth. So when you're saying I'll take anything, you're also saying I'll give anything. And there's a lot of, and what it sounds like when you listen to somebody, once again, I didn't listen to them, but if usually when I hear somebody speaking, um really I'd say so lowly of themselves, not highly of themselves, when I hear somebody speak like that about themselves, usually they're saying I don't see the value in myself. So since I don't really see the value in myself, I'll take whatever you say my value is. And so it sounds like she has been taken advantage of a lot, and it sounds like she has had persons, um you know, basically say that they'll, you know, even if they won't say it, they have definitely done that. Like a lot of men and women, we're talking about men in this particular occasion. There are a lot of brothers out there that are like, okay, if all you see is you just need coffee and physical touch, I can make that happen. And then after that, what, and if that's, and especially if that's what we're coming in with the mindset is that, hey, give me the bare minimum, right? And somebody would say, well, that's not what she really means and stuff, right? But you have to, I would say that that's what she's, at least that's what she's offering, and it sounds like that's what she's been willing to be involved with, is just give me bare minimum. Yeah, yeah. Somebody on TikTok saying, know your worth. Like it sounds like you don't believe that you're worthy of any more than that cup. And I'm not saying a cup of coffee is bad, right? But that's, we're talking about surface level things. So it seems like you want quality time, but even in that, there's quality to the time, right? So if you want somebody to be with you, what quality do they bring? Because you know I feel like for family days or whatever we're doing, we can go to a plethora of places. Sometimes we go to places where Solomon wants to go. We might not, we might go watch a movie and Solomon wants to see it, and it's a movie that's not for us, but because we are quality persons coming together and we love each other with a certain love and stuff like that, and adoration, and even the fact that there's times where there's for mom's quality time or dad's quality time, etc. It makes it to where, yeah, like because there's so much stuff that's sewn in, even something that might not be our cup of tea is something that's great because we have a love for Solomon and for him, that he got to get what he wanted to do, and to see him light up, to see him have a great time is more important, to us. And so the same thing, like, when she's just like, I want a cup of coffee and stuff like that. But even for you, it seems like the cup of coffee is a big deal, or just communicating every day is. All right, do you find a person that, even if, because communication might not be their main, or words of affirmation might not be their main thing. That being said, what about them is going to be quality, and what quality do they see in you? Because I see quality in you that makes me say, I need to be of high quality when I'm around you, when I try to do something for you, or at least to be something that matches your criteria for what you think quality time is, because that's the love that I have for you, right? And that's also what you reciprocate towards me. And so that helps me to make decisions, and it also helps me to feel loved, even when, it might be something I'm doing for somebody else. It's something that I'm really doing for myself, because I know it returns back to me, and vice versa. So when you hear somebody speaking on stuff like that, a lot of times you have to ask them, like, what do you really mean by quality time? Or I don't even, she's not even using the term quality time. She's just saying, I want somebody to sit down with me. And if somebody would sit down with me, and then if somebody would touch me and hug me and kiss me and possibly, lead to sex and blah, blah, then she's like, okay, that's what I need. But from the sound of it, from, especially with you being in your 50s, no shade, but from how she sounds, putting all these things together, it's like it sounds like you need a lot more, but you haven't even looked at to see what you actually truly desire from how you've been created.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then it probably seemed disingenuous to someone who is of quality if the only thing that's being presented is something that's very surface level. Because someone who's of quality is thinking, well, I offer so much more. I'm overqualified for this position. And then also, it sounds like she's skipping steps in terms of the process. And I like what Sister Mavis said. She said, never allow yourself to be lonely because you will be vulnerable. And basically, she's putting herself out as vulnerable, but she hasn't built up the connection with someone in order to be vulnerable with them. And there's a process, there's a steps, there's cycles, there are steps in the cycle. You can't just jump from 1 to 10. You have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or else you end up in a vulnerable situation where instead of cultivating relationships with family, with friends, with say SOC and the different family members there, she's out searching for instant gratification and instant intimacy with somebody she doesn't know,
Mm,
instead of really building up and going through the steps of what she wants. And if she presents herself as, oh, I'm very simple, this is all I want, and the person takes it the wrong way, I'm believing that she wants a man, she wants a good man, she wants a husband. If she's saying, oh, I just want somebody to hang out with, someone who's of quality who would be a husband would say, well, I'm not interested in that. I'm looking for a wife. And in their
mm,
head, they might not say it to her. They might say, well, she doesn't really match the criteria because I'm not looking for a woman who just wants coffee and a good time. I'm looking for a woman who I can build a life with, that, I'm willing to put my life on the line for. And if someone's just kind of base level, then I'm way well overqualified for the position, and she's just not the one, even if she was the one.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's, I mean, well said. Well said. Um, and that's something that, even when you're, so even like going to culture, even when you're supposed to have that mindset of, okay, if we've talked everything out and things like that, and we say we're going to get together, those are things that even supposed to be thought of, because even at age 50, you have a lot of life, left. So there should be a lot of things like, I'd like to live this in this manner. If you have children, or maybe even at 50, you might want to have children if you don't have children, or you might want to have more, who knows? But these are things, we want to talk about. This is what I think of it being taken care of. This is what I would require of a husband, or even some things as far as like, here are some of the issues that I have. I need to be built up, or I need to be I need you to be willing to learn, like, even help me with some of these things. I might have certain things that are kind of jacked up, but so be it. I know that these things are not all the way there, but I want to get better in them, and I'm labeling these things as a desire of mine to get better and to get greater. And like, we don't really always talk about those things. But then also, once we even get past that, we're supposed to make sure, that's why there's a process of a husband preparing a place for his wife, and a wife preparing herself for her husband, where literally, even though we might not even be together, our whole thought process, including coaching, or those who do counseling, whatever the case might be, our whole process is to try and get both parties ready to become one, and to slowly but surely to start giving up things on your own time, so that when you get together, you're not starting the process then. And so, if her thought process is, I'm going to wait until I get with this person, and this is how a lot of persons think. I used to think like this as well. I'm sure a lot of us still think like this. Especially if we're at the dating game, you kind of taught, we're gonna get together. Either, there's a couple ways. Sometimes the dating game is literally a game, but the dating game overall is supposed to be something where, okay, I'm gonna get with this person, and we're gonna have some great times. And as we get closer and closer, then I'll start looking to see what this person has to offer me, and I'll start revealing some of those things that I should have revealed from the beginning. And then what will happen is, when we get married, something will snap, something will click, because we love each other. And I get what we mean by we love each other, but you know, like really what we're saying is because I feel head over heels in love for this person, and I know that I need to be with this person. That in and of itself will be enough. And it's like, no, that's why there's tools. That's why there's preparation. That's why
There's
there's.
lots of communication. People always talking about communication because just because you feel a certain way doesn't mean that the other person is feeling what you're feeling. And if you don't have the proper communication tools to express what you're feeling, how you're feeling it, and so on, they may not understand where you're coming from. So going through the process of, you know, being unmarried and then going through those process of, you know, becoming a wife or a husband, and then being, excuse me, sorry, no, it's fine, being unmarried and going through the process of learning to be a wife or learning to be a husband, and then getting with that person that um, allows you to feel that special way. They're not just anybody. They're not just communication. They're not just coffee and a conversation and maybe some physical touch. They're, you know, that person that you've been waiting for, that you've been looking for, because you've prepared yourself in your process to
Mm,
know what you're looking for. Then once you get with them, you are that wife or that husband. And you know you're gonna have to go through that process again. So if you never prepared before you got married, it's gonna be a slim chance, or it's gonna be a lot harder once you get married to
mm,
that person, to know how to go through that process over and over again, because it's kind of like you're growing together. So you're gonna have to reset ever so often, because you're growing, you're changing, and so is your husband or your wife. They're growing and they're changing. So you have
mm,
to know that you're going to go through a process. It's not going to be automatic. It's not going to be just some natural thing all the time. There is a lot of work. That's what people say when they say marriage is work, because it's not like it's
mm,
just automatic for anybody. It's not easy for anybody. It's a process that you go through over and over again,
mm,
and the reward is great enough that you're willing to do it.
mm. Wow, yeah, the reward is great enough. Yeah, and even with the dating stuff, somebody said over here that dating nowadays can be like Russian roulette. You know, it's kind of like you spin, you know, and you're hoping that. Well, I don't know. You're hoping, I guess, you don't get hit. I don't know how to, what the, you know, but I guess that's the thought process. But yeah, you know, it's a lot of stuff in there, and even what you said, something even, it's something that I've learned. I've been saying it in different ways, but I'm learning more and more because I'm growing too. I'm not here because I have this thing without any faults or whatever. I'm growing too and learning every day. As you said, every day is a new benchmark, literally. Where it's like, okay, I think I'm all right in this, but then it's like, but I don't want to be all right. I want to be great, or I think I'm great in this. Up, maybe not so much. Or you might even think I'm bad at this, and then come to find out, okay, I'm not as bad. You know, it's whatever. You know, vulnerability, even in that, of just being willing to say, like, yeah, you know, I could be better, or I might be better, or I might not even know what you know, there's times where I've gotten more comfortable in recent times with just asking you sometimes outright, like, are we straight, or like, you know? And I'm not saying I don't do it because I think you're mad or anything. Sometimes I'm like, let me see where it's at, and sometimes that can be scary, even to be vulnerable on those levels. But also, too, you know, one thing I've gotten used to is realizing like that you should, or well, I don't know. I hope this isn't too whatever, too big headed or whatever. But I mean this for everybody. I think this is how we should think about each other, and especially in marriage relationships. Do I deserve what I want? You know, like, do I actually deserve what I want? And I don't think we think about it that we just go, oh, I'm a man, I'm a husband, so you know she should cook, she should clean, she should blah blah blah, whatever. You know, I'm a woman, you know, so he should just do these things and blah blah whatever. And I'm not saying there aren't certain things that we should, especially if we've had conversation about. There should be certain things that we have agreed to. Sister Monique said, you know, yeah, committed to communicate. You know, yeah, you know, like there should be certain things that we are willing to have that conversation on. But at the same time, yeah, like okay, and I'm not saying this is anybody's relationship, or you know, I'm not saying we need to have traditional trad wives, blah blah. I'm not getting into all that. I'm just saying whatever your agreement is. Hey, if your let's say your agreement is okay, she's gonna cook, clean, blah blah, and you're gonna go make the money, and that, whatever, whatever. Do you deserve what it is that you want, or that you desire, or that you need? Even on the flip side, okay, he's got to be, I don't know, he got to be 6'8" with washboard abs and make 250,000 a year, own a couple houses with a few cars for me, and this and that, blah blah. Okay, cool. Do you deserve? And that's a hard word. That's
Saying, well, no, it's not harsh because people are quick to say when they don't deserve something negative. They're really quick to say, I don't deserve to be treated like this. I don't deserve this bad thing that's happened to me. But when it comes to actually deserving and living a life of merit that says, I deserve to be treated well because I treat people well often and all the time, like, and I don't think anybody can say that I treat people well all the time. I mean, you'd be, uh, I would say 99.9% of us can't say that we treat people well all the time and that we've only been nice and, never had a negative thought and different things like that. But, for the 1% of people who did, who are like that, maybe you don't deserve it. But for the rest of us who, can have a bad attitude sometimes, cannot be present sometimes in a conversation or there, we're quick to say when we deserve when we don't deserve something negative, but we don't necessarily think about merit when we think about what we want. We think about, oh, I want it, so I should have it, not that I've actually worked towards it or actually deserve it.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. That yeah, if we have no problem if to tell you I don't deserve to be yelled at, and you don't. I don't deserve to be cussed out, and you don't. I don't deserve to be, not listened to, not heard, and you don't. I don't deserve to be demasculated or emasculated. I don't deserve to be, treated, like I don't deserve respect or I'm underneath you. But yeah, like, do I deserve? We talked about it before. We have this list that we put up in a mental wall, in a mental space, and we say like, yeah, I've got all these things, but it's like, okay, do I deserve what is it that gets me this quality? Going back to the quality time thing the woman was talking about, what gets me this type of person? And if it's only, I would go as far as to say, once again, I'm assuming things about this sister, this woman. I have no clue because I didn't even listen to her, let alone have I talked to her before, right? But I'm just seeing certain signs that show me that it could be something real easy to see that she hasn't really thought of not only what she deserves, like she wants, but what she deserves, and then does she actually deserve those things? That's why for us, marriage is a lifetime. Um, it's a lifetime thing, not just only when you get married. It's a lifetime thing because from birth we're supposed to be being taught certain things that cause you to deserve. It's like what is it? Persons try to say love has loopholes, or even deeper than that. Persons try to say what is oh yeah that love is what is it, unmerited. They'll say like a dog doesn't have to do anything to get love, to just get love. And it's like, yeah, but we're not dealing with dogs, number one. But then even with that, don't and a dog's on a much lower level. So brothers and sisters, I'm not trying to say that we're, you know, dogs or whatever, but hear what I'm saying. Even with a dog, don't you take time out to say, I'm going to train a dog. I'm going to bring a dog into a loving home. I'm going to make sure that the dog knows what the deal is. The dog will not only respect me, but also the dog might be something that's your pet, but the dog even will try to protect you. The dog wants to please you because you also take time out to please the dog, even if the dog does have to receive some form of discipline. At the same time, the dog will respond better, because as much as we just act like you can discipline a dog and then, spank the dog, blah, blah, which is, whatever. DMX used to say you can beat a dog up and then all of a sudden somebody at the door, they will stop what we're doing because we got to take care of the situation. But it's like, yeah, but I would also say that the dog probably knows that you have his best interest at heart, and like, so even with the animal, we'll go to a place of being like, yeah, I'll give you all this stuff, but with each other, with human beings, we have this thing where we don't think about merits. Like, there is a thing of merit. There is no such thing as that I forget what is it. I'm saying the wrong thing. It's like not. It's not like unmerited favor that people say grace is, but what is it? People always say that love should be something without. It's not without merit. They say, what is it the person say all the time? Love is I say it a lot. I can't. It's been so a long time since I've said it. Love is where people would say basically there's no rules to love, or like you should love somebody no matter what they do, and it's not. Thank you. Unconditional love. That's the word I'm looking for. And persons try to give us say that love is unconditional, but no, like if you, it's like that video I put up that we were watching in the RV together. I don't know how a lot of you've seen it and posted some comments about it and stuff, but the video on TikTok at least, and the video is maybe I'll put it on YouTube too, but the video where there's a guy and by the way, the guy didn't have a chance, at least in that little clip that I saw. He's probably going to come on there and talk about, yeah, I was a bad person, this and that, blah blah, but you have his wife who's on there, and he's literally telling her she's nothing, she's trash. He's saying that he's going to cheat on her, and she's ironing his clothes, and they're talking about it as love. They're saying that this is an act of love, and where she's saying, yes, I'm going to go ahead no matter what, because I see something in him, I see him loving me. And while one can say this is a lot of sacrifice, and I can say that, hey, I guess in a sense you're to be commended, I also made the point to say in the video, no, that's abuse. That's abnormal usage. Like, you're in a situation where somebody is treating you completely out of pocket and is not giving you righteous actions, because love is action. And so every action that he gives, every time he cusses you out, every time he's cheating on you and you're allowing it, you've allowed a space to where you're busy saying, no, this is what makes me a wife. And while we can find a couple of examples in scripture where Yah might have said, like to Hosea, marry a prostitute because I want you to, you got to realize what he asked Hosea to do. He said, marry this prostitute because I want you to see how the people of Israel are treating me, and how that's not how a marriage works. So even in that, he's making it a point to say this is not something we look up to. Or you might find relationships where somebody's being abused, having children with somebody, but they don't even love her, like Leah, etc., even though Leah had a part to play with that. That being said, where to take that and be like, I'm going to take this and allow somebody to abuse or to do all these things, you're functioning on a level that's biblically constitutionally unacceptable. Like, Yah wants you to experience love that you deserve and that you need as his child, as his daughter, as his son, as his husband. And so somebody going through that, a lot of us will allow disrespect, allow abuse, allow a lot of things that are out of pocket, because we're so busy trying to say, well, that's what I signed up for. We didn't sign up for fornication. Fornication in the Bible is the word pornography, basically, and pornography back then meant a false image of marriage. That's a false image of marriage, to think that somebody should um, speak ill of you, put their hands on you, cheat on you, and say, B word, iron my clothes while you're doing it. Like, but in her mind, because ultimately he had a heart change, and praise God for the heart change if it actually happened. I can't speak for what actually happened or not. That being said, for you to say that's the example that I want to promote is the dangerous thing. And a lot of persons have this mindset that love is unconditional. That's obviously the extreme, but at the same time, there are a lot of persons who have that at a lesser level. I'll take this, I'll take whatever you give me. If you'll just spend time with me, all I want is blah, blah. And then you end up breaking up anyways. And for real, here's the sad part about it, as you were kind of already insinuating. The sad part is that after all that, usually it's going to be the person who was abusive towards you that's going to leave you, because they never respected you and never really wanted you in the first place. They actually would have been more attracted to somebody who actually forced them into a place of discipline in their relationship.
When you said how could there be unconditional love? There can't be unconditional love because there's conditions to even living. You have to drink water. You're gonna have to get sunlight at some point. You're gonna have to get fresh air. You're gonna have to get different things that are necessary for life. If you don't have oxygen and you don't have water, you're not gonna survive very long. So those are conditions for life. There are conditions for love also, and people need to stop making up terms and thinking that they can just make it that way because they say so. there is love that even even if it's unmerited, you're going to get that love, but there still were conditions for that love. So there's no such thing as unconditional love. Um, and if people stop going into relationships thinking that they don't have to do anything or be anything in order to obtain things, then they may come with a stronger um, footing. And then what you were saying about that example of abuse, to me, the way the woman was the I think it was a pastor's wife, and the pastor was cheating on her, and she was helping him. She would iron his clothes and help him get prepared to go to his mistress. To me, that's just excusing abuse and shows some type of deep level of mental trauma that would allow somebody to go through that and think that that was okay. It's one thing to go to the side and pray for someone, but it's another thing to encourage the behavior,
Mm-hmm.
because her sitting there ironing and preparing his meal, preparing him to go to fornicate, to sin, really wasn't helpful to him. Really, he may have stopped sooner, or he may have never done it if she had presented some type of standard.
Right.
Um,
Well, also, if I'm sorry to interrupt you, I just want to throw something in real quick. Um, Also, too, for her to do that is a sin, right? Like if he's sinning and you're helping him to sin, like I don't think we want to make it even, I don't know, close, more kingdom sense and less common sense, whatever. You're helping him to sin. He is literally sinning. He's literally cheating. He's literally fornicating. He's literally adulterous. And your thought process is, I will help him be more adulterous because this is Yah's will. Now, once again, supposedly, I have to go off of what they say. Their marriage is where it needs to be now, and she's she even said in her thing she would only suggest it if the Holy Spirit told you to do it. I'll leave that to what her communication is with the Holy Spirit. That being said, I don't believe the Holy Spirit promotes sin. And Sister Michelle said she was an accomplice. Sister Iska said true love starts with mutual respect. If there is no respect, there is no love. Sister Monica said her downfall is that she settles for what um, what's given and not what is really needed.
Exactly. Exactly. All of that. All of that, ladies, that you commented. It has to be there has to be mutual respect. You can't just take whatever. You have to know what it is you need and want so that you can help that person find what they need and want. If both people are saying something because it's just what's offered, what's given, then you're both like kind of denying each other the opportunity to really be in a fulfilling relationship with somebody that can meet your needs, not
Mm.
just offer you anything. And what you
Meet your
said,
meet your needs exactly.
yeah,
Amen. Yeah.
um, yeah, it's there. You can't just help somebody be an enabler to their downfall, because really, when you help somebody not be what they were called to be. Like if you're with somebody because you feel sorry for them, then you're really hurting yourself and you're hurting them also, and you're doing
Mm-hmm.
both of y'all a disservice. So if you're not,
Mm-hmm.
if you're like doing what Sister Monica said, if you're looking for matching your needs, then that will avoid a whole lot of problems down the line of resentment. Because when someone's needs aren't being met, they will end up being resentful of the
Yeah.
person, um, because you're going to put forward so much effort, and if you're not getting your needs met in return, you're going to have resentment. And whose fault is it? It's not the person that was accepting what you were giving to meet their needs. It's your own fault. But it's just setting up situation when you don't have that mutual respect, and even respect for yourself. Because even
Mm.
if the other person respects you and you don't respect yourself enough, to say this isn't what I need. It's not what I want, but it's not definitely not what I need. And I'm going to allow you to be with be and do the things that you need to be and do. And I'm gonna allow myself the same opportunity to be what I need for me. And it's just best for everyone involved.
Yeah, somebody on here said iron sharpens iron. Yep. Yeah, you can build up somebody's ego for sure.
Yeah.
So question. I know we're almost out of time, and thank you, babe, because I know you're busy, and so you're actually blessing us with your presence on something that's really important. So thank you for doing so. We do have one question at least. We'll try to, or well, I'd like to just present to you. Brother Darius said, "Can't the love languages be the same as as conditions of love?"
Mm. I think they could. I think it could be, but I think also you could meet someone who speaks a different language because hey, they were raised differently. Even if they start off at birth with the same love language as you, they could possibly be influenced in their love language change, and now they don't know how to speak your love language, but they want to learn because that feels natural to them. That feels natural for them to be with you because your love language could be a condition of your upbringing or the things that have happened to you in your life where your love language could have changed or could be, being expressed differently, but being with that person now is kind of helping you to open up to their love language and grow more because just being with someone with the same love language doesn't mean that it's necessarily you're going to fall in love with them or that they're even the correct or righteous person for you. Sometimes we meet people because we're being forced to grow. We're being forced to see our weaknesses because if we're both just like perfect for each other right out the bat, then there's no need for growth. We kind of just are stagnant, and we can become stagnant and what do you call it? When you lack motivation to do things. But if you meet somebody and they motivate you to want to speak their love language, I think that can be beautiful too.
Yeah, and just to add on to that real quick, I would also say that we have to be careful, or well, so even though we talked about this in the men's meeting some, but we talked about might even been Brother Aaron who kind of really brought this out. I think it was we talked about the dialects as well. So there are five love languages, so to speak, right? But there's also different dialects within each language, So even learning that I think helps to specify because yes, somebody might like words of affirmation, but somebody might consider something, like okay, there's times where yes, I'm a pastor, I'm preaching this and that, but sometimes the these, thuses, and thous, and the Bible saith, etc., is not necessarily what I need in that moment. And I might need to know what I might need a dialect in that moment, or yes, acts of service might be this, and you might yes, actions speak louder than words, but sometimes okay, somebody might need you to act softer than what you are, because somebody might be like, well, shoot, I just need this, just get it done, and somebody else acts soft, or even with quality time. Once again, what makes it quality? Quality time for some is I don't even care if we're talking to each other. I don't care if you're on your phone. Some people are like, I just want you in the room. Like I want you to like you can give everybody else this time, blah blah. You don't even got to talk to me like that. Just I want you to be in the room. I've heard some persons say that. I've heard some persons be like, no, I need 30 minutes, eye contact. I need like you holding my hand. I need us watching, Netflix and chill kind of thing, whatever. So even in that, talking about that also helps to set a boundary within the love language. I'm sorry, baby, you had something?
Well, I like what you said about dialects because even if you speak the same love language as someone, like say for instance, both of our love language, this is just an example, this is not true or not. If both of our love language is quality time, but your idea of quality time is just sitting next to me and when we're looking at the TV, and my idea of quality time is we're having an in-depth conversation. Just because both of our love language is quality time doesn't mean that we're going to be both having our needs met if you require a whole lot less in terms of the presence and the actual interaction than I do. So I think any
And that
relationship.
and I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to say too,
Mhm.
sometimes even to that other person, it might not be a whole lot less. Like for them, watching a movie is like it could that could be their thing. So that could be like an extreme. Oh yeah, we need. Like when we first got together, that was still a huge thing for me. Still, was like watching movies and stuff. So even if you didn't necessarily like it, one thing that you did for me was like, okay, yeah, we'll sit down, watch a movie, or we'll go here, or you go to a movie theater, something with me, and vice versa. There might be something that like I've talked about this before. I enjoy when we go out, or when we go forage and we go to the garden. It's not necessarily like I don't enjoy it because it's my like something that was initially my thing, but I see that it makes you happy and it makes you feel like you're in the zone. And I know that it causes us to both feel like we're fulfilled ultimately at the end of the day. So I enjoy it because you enjoy it. So even in that, like just even finding that sweet spot, that nice little groove, where both of us are might have a different dialect, but we can both come to some kind of agreement, or even meet each other in the other dialect.
Exactly. And I think also as we age and grow and change, our love language or the way we present those might change also. So,
Hmm.
you know, it's it's about work. There's going to be work. It's going to be work, no matter who you're with. Even if you met the perfect person, you're going to still have to put in some type of effort and some type of work to um, continue to be the perfect person for that person, and vice versa. You're gonna, because we're constantly changing and growing. I think they
Hmm.
say every 2 years your body is completely renewed. You're a
Amen.
completely new person. All the
Hmm.
cells in your body are new. So why would you expect for your personality to stay the same? Why would you expect for your likes and dislikes to stay the same, or the things you even want to talk about or do, the
Hmm.
activities you want to do? They probably change over time. So it's gonna take work. It's gonna take work for you to be an individual, if so to speak. There's no real such thing, but it's going to take work for you to be self-actualized and realize who you are and what you need and what you like. And then it's going to take work also to um, build that with somebody else.
Hmm.
It's always going to be work.
Amen. Amen. That being said, it is 9:02 Eastern time. So we are not going to keep you any longer than we're supposed to. Thank you everybody for being on multiple platforms, and those who watch this maybe later on through Patreon, those who are watching live or live right now. I don't know if did you have any last words that you kind of wanted to leave with us before you get back to what you're doing? Okay, well, I don't have anything else either. So thank you, everybody. Tada. Merci, ma femme. Thank you so much for being on with us as always. And thank you, everybody. Hopefully, you got something out of it. As I said, usually we will follow this up on the following day, on the Sunday, with a Zoom session where we could go a little more into things. That being said, because tomorrow is Mother's Day, not only just personally, but I would think probably for a lot of you, you'll probably be busy taking care of some things, doing some things, and resting and getting ready for tomorrow and stuff as well. So we'll play it by ear. I'll make an announcement. I'll make sure I put it on Google Calendar invite. I'll try to send text out to our ministerial staff and to our secretary. But more than like, we'll play it by ear. But more than likely, there's a chance we may not do it tomorrow. But thank you everybody for being on for today. Ministerial staff, we got prayer tomorrow, 7 a.m. New York time, and then we'll be on the live session tomorrow for everybody at 8 a.m. New York time. Hopefully, this has blessed you and gave you a couple things to think about. And thank you to everybody. Thank you once again to Elder Alma for joining us. We give all praise and honor to the Most High, and we're thankful for each and every one of you. And as always, remember, family, that you are loved. You're necessary. You're majestic. You're fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shabbat shalom. Peace, family.
Shalom. And happy born day, mama.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. I didn't know if I was allowed to say. Okay, so that's what I was saying. She has to get back to. So happy born day, Yam Yasalav. I'm a Rose, the Mother Rose. Praise Yah. All right, we'll talk to everybody soon. Peace.